All right, so again, looking at my small study, but really looking at the height to length proportion of that profile view. Can I buy this for that rectangle in perspective? Does it look like that rectangle? And even more than comparing the angles there, comparing this angle with that angle on the small study, what I'm really doing is I'm trying to look at these three lines. I'm starting with the back corner down here on the bottom. And I want this line to meet up with this line, but not before it meets up with that line. So this one has to feel like it's going to the same vanishing point. What I said before is you actually have a little bit more wiggle room than you might think on this. The thing is, if it looks right, it is right. This looks a little too parallel to me. So if it looks wrong, it is wrong, right? I'm going to bring that down a little bit. It's going to be fairly parallel because the two things are pretty close to each other, but it's not going to be parallel. It can't be parallel, but it also can't meet up with this line before it meets up with the other line. Step back from it, look at it. What do I think of it? And one thing I might do here, seeing as I like the top two lines, I'm going to extend this out a little bit, just like I did over there on that one. I'm going to extend this one out a little too. The reason being, as I draw this line here, I want to be able to see those two lines so that I can find this line. Again, holding this thing up, just like I've done a million times with you guys, but I'm looking at these two lines, I'm trying to split the difference. I'm thinking about that a whole lot more than I am about what was that little study. I might actually extend this out a little too, just so I can see the whole line. I actually missed. Try that again. That looks pretty good, except for that one little squiggly place where my finger interrupted the business. All right. I would say at this point, so far so good. That's bugging me. Get rid of it. All right, so now I got two more lines I got to draw. And yes, I'm going to look over here, but that kind of gives me the sense of it. But really what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get this line so that it's agreeing with all those other lines. Okay, and it's got to feel like it's converging. Looking particularly at this one, I don't have two lines that are on either side, so I'm going to again draw that all the way. Now I know I kind of did this last time, so why are we watching you do this again, Brad? Maybe some of you aren't. That's fine. That's your prerogative. And the thing is, there's a little bit more, there's some more points that I'd like to make. Okay, so then, you know, when I make this last thing here, this last line, it ought to make sense with everything. If it doesn't, I got to go back around and see if I can figure it out. Let me draw that line and see what I think of it. Can I buy this line or go into all of it? Yeah, I think so. Right, check this out. That's, you know, well under a 90-degree angle. So this box would never happen in real life. It's more pinched than perspective does. If this front, you know, this one's okay up here, but by the time I get down here, it's pretty pinched. Same thing happened with this thing over here. I think I've relaxed it off just a little bit, but not too much. The thing is, it's not going to matter at all by the time I'm done. The shoe is going to feel, you know, the lines of the shoe will be slightly more exaggerated, is what the story is going to be. This box, the most important thing is going to be about Xing it off and finding that mid-plane. Most of the action that happens on this particular project happens on the mid-plane and on the bottom plane, okay? But we're drawing the whole box because we're visualizing the shoe inside the whole box. But most of the action happens on the bottom plane and in the mid-plane, okay? All right, so I'm going to X this thing off, and then I'm going to find the mid-plane here. I might start to erase some of the lines I don't need, you know, those where I extended. I'm going to erase any lines that were old lines. You know, I'm going to, you know, crisscross this and crisscross that. Oh, wait, before I do that, what I want to do is I want to look at my study up here, look at the width to length, and see if I can buy this for that. If I've done everything right, I ought to be pretty close. And in fact, when I look at that, I think it looks okay. If anything, it's slightly short. Like I said, it is better to be a little long than it is to be a little short. You know, on that handout, I kind of make that mistake. I'd like to say I made that mistake on purpose. Here's the deal. If I want to extend this out, you know, I got two ideas. One is I either extend it out here farther, that way, give it a little bit of that, but that changes this dimension, right? If I want to change, if I want to keep that dimension right on and change this one, I got to bring this one in, which is the opposite of what I did on the other one. The thing is, when I'm looking at this, the more I look at it, the more I'm kind of okay with the parameters. Don't talk yourself into something that is going to be bad. But I think that I can buy this for that rectangle. Yeah, I can. I'm going to roll with it, okay? Good, okay.